Oh, oh God. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Gamester here. This is the tank guide for Immerseus normal difficulty. And basically this guide should cover the core mechanics that you need to know to tank the Immerseus encounter. So let's get started. So the main mechanic to worry about as a tank is Corrosive Blast. This is the ability that requires tank swaps between you and your partner tank. So Corrosive Blast has a 2-second cast time, at the end of which Immerseus will cast Corrosive Blast on the current primary tank. This will deal 600,000 shadow damage baseline, as well as apply a 45-second debuff that increases shadow damage taken by 300% per stack. So, as you can imagine, if you take Corrosive Blast while you already have the Corrosive Blast debuff, the base damage will rise up to 2.4 million. So it's an exceptionally large damage value if you take a second one with the debuff. For that reason, you should swap after every stack of Corrosive Blast between your tanks. If for some reason you cannot do this and you're forced to take an extra stack while you already have one going, you're going to need a massive cooldown, either an immunity or just a 90% reduction or anti-death immunity, something like that. You could even bubble yourself maybe if you timed it right. But essentially you shouldn't have to do that. You should just swap after every stack between you and your tank partner. So the second major mechanic to watch for as a tank are the Sha Pools. You can see these gray pools all around the room right now. Even though I'm not a tank perspective, the mechanic is still the same. So there you can see the pools are being sucked in when Immerseus submerges. So you can see that they sort of reset every phase transition, which is great. But when a pool spawns, it will deal very heavy shadow damage to any player that stands within it. Now as a tank, of course, this is very important because you will usually have a stack of Corrosive Blast on you. And while you have Corrosive Blast, you're going to take 300% more shadow damage. So it's exceptionally important as a tank that you do not stand in the pools any longer than is necessary when they initially spawn on you. So watch for that timer or just watch for them to spawn and make sure you sidestep quickly to get out of them. The final mechanic to think about as a tank is the Sha Puddles. And this really ties into the overall strategy or mechanic to defeat this encounter. So the goal, of course, is not to just defeat Immerseus or get his health low, but it's to reduce his corruption so you can help him out. You want to get his corruption to 0, and you do this by defeating 100 Sha Puddles or contaminated puddles during the encounter. These puddles are shot out during the submerge phase, as you see right here, and the darker ones, the Sha Puddles, are the ones you should worry about as a tank. Just like a DPS player, you'll want to get in melee range, DPS them down as quick as you can, and when a Sha Puddle is defeated, you will gain a stacking buff that increases your damage output by 50% per stack. So the goal is to burst down that very first Sha Puddle that you get in range of, and then you'll get a stacking buff, and then the subsequent puddles will die even quicker. So you can keep this going for 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 puddles before the phase ends. So even though you're a tank, you should be able to do quite a bit to help out your DPS in that regard. Make sure you use movement boost effects as well to get in range of extra puddles that might be far away from you. And other than that, just make sure you work out your positioning for where you're going to stand between your healers, since this is a very large room and the raid will need to be spread out somewhat. And then get the tank swaps down appropriately, watch for those puddles on the ground, and then help out defeating the puddles during the submerge phase as well. And that is it. Good luck, and thanks for watching.